Good morning everybody, and how are we all this morning? Hope you're all doing well. Well, for the last few days I've been reflecting a lot over exactly where my life has been since the age of 17, and also the last 15 months since I started working with this man, Tony James Salimi, and I'd like to dedicate this video and thank Tony for all he's done for me in the last 15 months. Now, the reason I'd like to do that is because without Tony in my life and without working with Tony, I would most definitely not be here anymore. I would be dead. That's the truth. Now, this all starts when I was age 17, and it's about a mental health illness called obsessive compulsive disorder, or as it's more commonly known, OCD. Now, OCD entered my life consciously when I was 17, but I actually invited it into my life subconsciously when I was 13, and I can pretty much remember how I done that as well. I won't go into that today. Now, a lot of people think OCD is being neat and tidy, checking, having things in order, and it is that, it's definitely that, but it is far, far more than that. And this is some of my experiences of OCD that I'm going to share with you in the next few unfolding minutes. And I'm going to reveal to you just exactly what it done to me, and also why every day now in my life I work towards my purpose, which is taking the cure for OCD global. OCD is seen as incurable, and I know that is not true. I may be the only person on the planet at this moment that knows that, and that's why taking the cure global is my purpose. So let's go back to when I was 17 and OCD actually consciously entered my mind and my entire being. Now, on the day it happened, I was training as an apprentice pipe fitter to become a pipe fitter in the oil and gas industry, which I currently still do. But I always remember that day, and I can remember it very vividly, and it was quite simple actually. Somebody said something to me that day at my work, and my entire world just fell apart. The way I'd fought for the first 17 years of my life just evaporated. I didn't think that way anymore, and a whole new way of thinking entered my mind. And right at that point, when that happened, I actually felt a physical snap. Yep, a physical snap within my brain. I could actually feel it. I felt it go, just like that. And my entire way of being and thinking just fell to the floor. And it shattered, and it spread in millions, trillions of directions, and I literally just fell apart in 1 second, and a whole new way of thinking entered my being. It was as if I had a dam in my head with a massive reservoir behind it, which was full of dark thoughts, and this dam wall had burst and all these dark, powerful thoughts started coming through, and I just couldn't turn it off. I couldn't stop it. I couldn't brick up that damn wall and stop it. And from that day on, my life just changed completely for the next 20 years, and I lived a very tough life, which I told very few people about. But I'm going to share some of the experiences of my OCD with you now, just so you know what OCD can actually do to people. Now, over the last few days also, I've been looking online at a couple of OCD forums, chat and support groups. And last year I also travelled to the OCD UK conference in New York, which I just observed. I never took part, I just observed what was going on. And I've witnessed people's pain because of OCD. On these online forums I've seen people in their comments and posts on how much pain they're in, and they just don't know how to stop it, such as I didn't know how to stop it, but I do now. And when I was at the OCD UK conference, I also witnessed sufferers' parents, and these parents in tears, absolutely broken hearted over the pain and the misery their children are going through. And that's another reason why I have this purpose, and I have to deliver this purpose and take this purpose global, because I witness all this pain and suffering, and I know I have it within me to heal that pain and suffering and stop it and show people the other side of OCD. And now, as I mentioned before, I'm going to share with you some of the dark places OCD took me during those 20 years. I told very few people about this, but now I'm in a time and a space within my life where I can tell people. So, where to begin? Because I lived this daily, every day, even when I was asleep, I lived this way. Now, over the years I've sat in many psychologists, psychiatrists' rooms. I've been to psychiatric wards, though I've never been admitted to one. And I've been under the care of mental health crisis teams, etc. And I just got worse and worse over the years. My OCD did start with checking cutlery and light switches and stuff like that. I thought if I didn't do these things, something terrible could happen to me or a loved one. It became stuck in my mind and went on a loop. But when I was 20, my OCD became more internalised, became more invisible. You could call it an invisible illness. And I suffered horrendous intrusive thoughts. Thoughts that I was capable of killing people. And at times I actually did think I had killed people. I genuinely thought I had. My OCD also took on anxiety, depression, mania. Sometimes I'd probably say hypermania. And at the base of all this was constant suicidal thinking and suicidal thoughts. That's what I was going through. And it wasn't nice. Now, as this took a deeper hold within my life, the thoughts, the internal thoughts, just got worse and worse and wouldn't go away. And it came to a point one night where I genuinely thought I was going to murder someone because of my OCD. And the police had to be called, and I had to be taken to hospital because of my own safety and the safety of others. I wasn't a threat to anyone, it's just in my mind I was. And I remember that night very vividly as I was sat in the back of the police car and I was being taken to hospital. It was about a 25 to 30 minute car journey, and the two police officers were very good to me, very nice, and they sat with me in the hospital until the psychologist appeared. And when this psychologist appeared, we sat and we spoke for an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And I fully expected to be sectioned. And I thought, what a relief. This will be a complete and utter relief to finally get the help I need and to finally become better. That never happened that night. After my consultation with the psychologist, I was sent home. Now, 6 hours previously, I genuinely thought I was going to murder people because of my OCD and the internalised intrusive thoughts. And I thought I was going to get the help I really needed, and it never happened. And that left me broken. Absolutely broken. My mind was disintegrating day by day. My thinking processes were disintegrating. And at times it felt like I was losing touch with reality more and more. But after that happened that day, I decided to finish with that part of my life, and I decided to move on and start looking at alternative treatments. And I tried NLP, and I tried hypnotherapy. I even travelled to Harley Street in London because Harley Street's the best place to go, and paid a lot of money, my own money, because I just could not go on the way I was going on, and I just wanted this all to end. But still my OCD remained. It just would not shift, it wouldn't go away. And during those years from 17 to 37, I also started drinking heavily, and over the years it became heavier and heavier, my drinking. I'm not really sure what my friends thought of me at that time or my drinking, because I never asked them. But my drinking had reasons behind it, and what I've just told you is some of the reasons. It's because I was in so much internal pain that I drank so heavily to numb and block out my pain. It was a self-medication. It would also have killed me if I kept going on the way I was going. Now, another experience which happened through my drinking came when I was 32. I've been home detoxed off of alcohol several times. I've also went cold turkey a few times, but one time I had to be hospital detoxed. I had been drinking for something like 9 days solid, and when I would go through these binges of drinking, I wouldn't eat either. First thing in the morning I would start drinking till last thing at night, till I passed out. Because all I really wanted to do was pass out and fall asleep and get away from the thoughts for at least a few hours. Now, I had to be taken to hospital on this occasion, and I ended up admitted to a ward, and I had a drip in my left arm, 2 drips in my right arm, and I was being fed tablets, like they were going out of fashion really, to stop myself going into delirium tremors. I was also attached to monitors for my blood pressure and my heart, because my heart rate was extremely fast. And I was only 32 years old. On this ward there was 3 other men who were in their 60s and 70s, and I was only 32. Now I was there for a whole day and then released. But the nurse did say to me when I was leaving, she says, "Paul, I never ever want to see you back on this ward again." She never did. Came close, but she never did. So, I've shared with you some of what OCD done to me in those first 20 years. Now I'd like to share with you some of the turning points which have led me to where I am today. So first off, I started reading this book, Path to Wisdom, How to Lead a Balanced, Healthy and Peaceful Life. And there's a section in this book on page 8, and I'm going to read this phrase to you. And it says, "You may have heard the phrase, your inner world determines the way you experience your outer world." And this made complete sense to me, because I immediately linked it to my OCD. I went, if all I'm thinking about internally is OCD, it's all I'm going to see externally, out with me. It could also be another phrase, what you think about, you bring about. So if all you think about is your OCD and these dark thoughts, it's all you're going to bring into your life. And that really switched a light on inside of me. And I read the Path to Wisdom. I'd done the exercises within a Path to Wisdom, although I didn't do them correctly. I kind of rushed through the book at the first attempt, and as you can see by the state of the cover, I've actually now read this book a few times. And I connected with the author, and I decided I had to meet this man. I decided my pain had to stop, my suffering had to stop, and I had to meet this man. This man being Tony Jayton Salimi, who is now my coach, healer and friend. Now, when I met with Tony for my clarity consultation session, which I highly recommend, I would look into Tony. You can find him on www.tonysalimi.com, and if you want to book a clarity consultation, by all means go ahead. It didn't just change my life, it saved my life. So if you want to book a consultation for yourself or a family member or a friend, or just recommend to them to look at the work of Tony, by all means go ahead. It saved my life, so I can't recommend the man any highly. And it was during my consultation what Tony mentioned to me was another few short words, which was, what you value, you create. And I thought, what you value, you create, what does that really mean? And it wasn't until after I'd left Tony in my consultation in London, and I was feeling a little bit bewildered, but I started getting clarity on what it actually meant. I says to myself, I've got to have put in value on alcohol and what it gave me. Although I didn't like what I'd went through with alcohol and I didn't like drinking, I'd put a value on the self-medication and the numbing of the pain and the facade it gave me, the mask it gave me when I was out with others, out with my friends. It gave me a mask. I didn't have to show to people what I was truly going through. And I linked it to other things. I linked it to my OCD. I must have put a value on this, although it was at the time destroying me. I must have put a value on this because I've created it. I've taken a time and space through working with Tony to see that I actually created OCD within my life. OCD does not come from without me. It isn't out there as so many others think it is. It's all internalised, it's all within me, and I'll touch on that subject a little later on. And at that point, I then thought, I've just got to work with this man. And I never knew just what would happen to me in those 15, 16 months since I started working with him. And it's been absolutely amazing, mind-blowing. Words can't touch on what Tony does, just can't come near. Now, I also started looking into personal development at this point, and I really started investing in myself, because at the end of the day, the greatest possession I have in my life, or the greatest treasure I have in my life, is me. No one is going to live my life for me, bar me. People will come into my life and people will leave my life because this is what I'm dedicated to now doing. And no one, at the end of the day, when I take my final breath on this earth, is going to have lived my life for me by myself. And that's a real dedication. I came to the realisation that I have to be prepared, committed to let people go from my life, people I've known for years, if I'm going to deliver this cure to the world. As I mentioned on, I've witnessed parents and the suffering they go through because of the suffering their child's going through. And I know OCD can strike at any time. It can strike anyone at any time. It could strike a friend of mine, it could strike their child at any time. And I'm the only person who actually knows what the cure to OCD is. I was guided to discover the cure, and it's a great blessing, and I'm very grateful to Tony Salimi and Dr. John DiMartini, who guided me to discover the cure. It's quite an undertaking that I have, but I'm more than happy to take it on. How will I take this cure global? At the moment I'm not sure, but I know it will happen. I'm pretty sure of that. So, as I started investing more and more in myself, I also attended this, which is DiMartini, the Breakthrough Experience. And this is by a man called Dr. John DiMartini, who you can find on the web, and you can look into the work of John on the web. John runs seminars worldwide, and this really blew me away. It was 2 days solid teaching, 8 AM in the morning till about 3 AM the following morning on the Saturday, and the Sunday started at 9 and went on to 7 at night. And it absolutely blew me away, some of the stuff John touched on in the Breakthrough Experience, which I attended with another 60 attendees in London. And it was 2 weeks after that where I was working on the first draft of my book, which I'm writing about OCD, which is just a sharing of my story, because all I'm sharing with you is my experiences. And while I was working on my book, John talks about there being a hidden divine order in our world, and this order can open up and you can see it, and when you see this order, time actually stops. Everything stops and you see this hidden divine order. And I've been graced to see this order twice. But the first time I seen it, when I was working on my first draft of my book, I just just couldn't believe that it was something I'd never experienced before, and I became very humble, and I had tears in my eyes, and it was because on that night it was revealed to me what the cure to OCD is. I actually seen what the cure to OCD is. And without Tony and John, that would never have happened, so thank you guys. I love yous for that, and I love yous both. And the other subject I'd like to touch on this morning is loneliness. Now, as I've mentioned, I told few people about what I was really going through, and I know there's so many people throughout the world who are genuinely frightened to reveal what they're truly going through to their loved ones or friends, because they're scared, just as I was. You're scared you'll be mocked, you'll be ridiculed, you'll have jibes thrown at you, you'll be judged, people will desert you. I went through all of that, and that was why I became so introverted and silent over the years. And it was a very, very lonely experience, and I actually believed it was better for me to be that way. I actually believed I would be better off myself to protect others from me and to have myself protected from others. So this is another book, Tony's second book. It's called #Loneliness, the Virus of the Modern Age, and it's also endorsed. The foreword is written by Dr. John DeMartini. And John doesn't endorse many books or write forewords for many books, so this book has a very special place in the world, and I'd highly recommend you read it if you feel lonely as well. And when I read this book, I cried. I've only ever cried reading 2 books, and I've read hundreds of books. I'm an avid reader. I love reading books. I love learning. And I actually genuinely cried reading this book. It touched something within my heart. Because at the end of the day, when I come home at night and I shut the front door, it's only me. At this moment in my life, it's only me. And how many other people, when they come home at night and they shut the front door, feel that way? It's only them. They can be surrounded by others, but feel completely alone. Afraid to tell people just what exactly they're going through. Now, without Tony and working with Tony over the last 15 months, this video would never have happened. It would have been impossible for me to make. I would have been scared, fearful that people would judge, ridicule me, throw jibes at me. But I'm not anymore. I've come into a time and space within my heart and my being that I'm not scared of this anymore. And that's what this purpose of OCD of mine is all about. It's heart-driven work, and it's delivered from the heart. And it's when I see people going through so much pain through OCD, because it's far more than what is portrayed currently on the TV, and it's knowing I can end that pain, I can help them heal and see the other side of OCD, to see what OCD is genuinely asking for of them. OCD is an evolution of your consciousness. In its lowest form, I completely agree, as an illness, that's how I lived for all those years. But as you break through into higher states of consciousness, and that's why this is called the breakthrough experience by John. As you break through these states of consciousness, you evolve and you see it in a different light. And this is why Tony, that's the man there, has helped me alter my skewed perception of OCD. Now, there's a great saying that I love, which is, when the student is ready, the master appears. And that's exactly what happened in my life. I just didn't know it at the time, but I do now. And we have so many skewed perceptions on things. And it's quite easy to turn this around and bring it into balance, so you can see the benefits and the drawbacks. It's very easy. You just have to go through exercises such as I've went through with Tony, and through the TGS evolutionary method. There's 25 steps to that method, and it really does change the way you look at things and view things. And there is benefits to OCD, and there is drawbacks. You can't have one without the other. And for those first 20 years I was just trapped in the drawbacks. That was all I seen. Not anymore. So I'd like to end the video now, and this is the first of many videos I'm going to make. And I'd like to end it on something that I also learned from John at the breakthrough experience. That is that throughout your life you will always have challengers and you will always have supporters. You need them in equal balance. People will always challenge you, people will always support you. And lately I've had people challenge me, people throw jibes at me, people I've known for a long time. I've put things on Facebook and had challenges and jibes thrown at me, and I accept that, and I also choose to ignore it. And this is the path that my life is now taking. I can't go back the way and stop what I'm doing, because knowing what I now know, I just can't do that. I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I'd done that, in truth. And as I mentioned earlier, this is my life, and I'm the only person that's going to live this life. And if that means family members, friends do fall away and do desert me, I fully accept that. Other people will come in, and at the end of the day, when I do take my final breath, I want to know that I actually made a difference on this earth, on this planet, and that I did take the cure for OCD global, and that I brought peace and harmony into the lives of OCD sufferers. And without this man in my life, that just would never have happened. As I mentioned at the start of the video, without having this man in my life, I wouldn't even be here now. I know deep within me that I'd be dead. That my alcoholism would have just became too much. Something would have happened and I wouldn't be here. Now, how do you recommend someone who's done that for you? how do you truly recommend someone? Words will never touch on what Tony's done for me. The only thing I can think of at the moment that will touch on it is the actions I carry out from this day forth to support Tony and all the work he wants to do in the world as well. So I hope this has explained a bit more to you and a bit deeper just exactly why I've chosen to make this video. And as I mentioned, there will be more videos, and I hope you've enjoyed it. And if you want to comment or share the video, please by all means do. And as I mentioned, I'd highly recommend you pick up copies of these two books. Look up Tony on the web at www.tonysalimi.com. Changed my life, saved my life. Or you may want to attend Breakthrough Experience. Look into the work of both these men, and I wish you all a happy day. Thank you. Bye.